Thank you for inviting me. This seems to be a very, very special occasion because I understand there's launching a very special project going on right now. When we say the word chesed, we automatically, right away, think of doing something for another person. We think of a person in need, we think of other people, we think of ben adam l'chaveiro. And yet, really, in reality, chesed is part of ben adam l'malcham as well. The pasuk in Tehillim states, "Olam chesed yivaneh." Chaim writes that Hashem established the world on a pillar of chesed. As we know from Pirkei Avos, al shlosha devarim ha'olam omed, on three pillars the world exists, on the pillar of Torah and avoda, tefillah, and gemilos hasadim. Very famous idea, very familiar concept. One of the essential pillars of the foundation of the world is chesed. What is the role of chesed in the world, and why is it so important? And what makes it so essential? We can learn Ratzon Hashem from the way that he interacts with the world, from the Bria itself. When we look at the world, Hashem says so much chesed in the world. If I asked everyone to stop and think of this moment, of a chesed from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, would we have a problem stopping and thinking that Hashem does so much chesed for us? We would all be raising our hands saying, oh, and Hashem did this for me, and he did that, and you know what he did for my neighbor, and you know what he did for our community, and you know what he did for Eretz Yisrael, and you know what he did for the Yid and Chutz. Like, we would just be, I know this person, and we could just go on and on and on with all the chasadim that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does. Everywhere we turn, we see Chasdei Hashem. In our lives, in the Bria, Chazal ask, "My dichtiv, achar Hashem Elokechem telechu." How does one walk in the ways of Hashem? What does it mean? Is it possible that we could walk in Hashem's ways, follow Hashem, and walk behind him? No, it doesn't mean that literally. Hashem wants us to emulate his ways. We can't, it means that we are supposed to be ledabek b'midos of Shalom. We have to try to emulate Hashem's ways. We have to try to be like Hashem. Hashem says, here, I put you in this world, and now I want you to be like me. We're created b'tzalmo kidmuto, in Hashem's image. What does that mean? How are we supposed to emulate Hashem's ways? To cling to the midos of Hashem. That's following in the ways of the Shekhinah. We can't fathom Hashem. We can't grasp Hashem. We can only see how Hashem interacts with the world. We can only feel how Hashem interacts with us. We can only relate to Hashem through his actions. That's how we get to know Hashem and to be like Hashem. We get to see who Hashem is in his ways of, in his midos, in his ways of interacting with us. Through what's revealed in the Torah and the nature and the Bria itself. The Sifsei Chaim tells us that whatever Hashem reveals to us is to teach us, to guide us, not to know Hashem and understand Hashem and come to an intellectual grasp of who Hashem is, but rather so that we could be like Hashem, to guide us, so that it's a halacha l'maisa. Hashem interacts with us in certain ways so that we can learn how to interact with others, so that we can learn the proper way to be, to know how to act as an Eved Hashem. Through Hashem's actions that are revealed to us, Hashem's midos, we learn Ratzon Hashem. And this is l'maisa for us. This is applicable to us in our own life. How Hashem interacts with the world when we hear of an unbelievable hashgacha pratis of what a chesed Hashem did for that person. It's so that we can be inspired and we can learn that Hashem let us know about this so that we can be like him. And whatever's not revealed, whatever we don't know about, it's not applicable. Hashem is doing lots of things and somehow those things are covered and concealed because that's not applicable to us. Rav Dessler writes that everything we see or hear in the world is a famous Musar idea. everything that comes my way. Someone makes a comment, I hear something, I see something. Yisrael Salanter would say that if you put 4 people on 4 different corners on the same intersection, everybody will come away with a different thing. The people-oriented person will be interested in telling you all about the people. And the one who's very fascinated by cars will tell you all the cars that went by. The person who's grabbed by nature, so they'll hear the birds chirping. And they'll tell you, everybody will come away from the same street corner telling you something that relates to them. And each one of us hears and sees certain things in our lives. Rav Dessler writes, because whatever we hear and see in the world is a message to us to teach us what to do, and sometimes to teach us what not to do. Why did I have to see that? So I know that it's wrong. Why did I have to hear that? So I don't want to be like that, right? Sometimes it gives us a picture of why did I have to witness someone criticizing someone else? So I could realize how hurtful it is and how much I cringed when I heard those words being said to someone else. I never want to be like that, right? I had to witness that for some reason so I could learn from it. Or the opposite, I could see someone do something so wonderful. It stands out in our minds so many times when someone did something so beautiful and so wonderful, and we just want to be like that person. Sometimes Hashem challenges us in certain ways and teaches us, like a nisayon, not to do certain things and to be miskaber. And other times Hashem teaches us this is the way to be. What does Hashem teach us about his ways? So Chazal tell us that Hashem's midos are that Hashem is malbish harumim, he clothes the ones who need clothes, like Adam and Chava when they understood that they weren't wearing clothing. Hashem provided clothing, katnat ar, and dressed them. He's mevaker cholim, like by Avram Avinu. When Avram was waiting so eagerly and he wanted to so badly have visitors, and Hashem appeared to him. Malachim came. He's menachem avelim. Right? Vayhi achar mot Avraham. After Avram died, Hashem appeared to Yitzchak and blessed him. And Hashem is mekaber mesim. Hashem buries the dead, like it says by Moshe Rabbeinu. Just as Hashem performs all of these actions, so too Afatah says, so just like Hashem is Rachum B'chanan, just as Hashem is merciful and he does acts of kindness, so too are we supposed to do these acts of kindness. The beginning of the Torah, from Adam Arishon till the end of the Torah, Hashem is performing acts of kindness, of chesed. So the conclusion, says the Sifsei Chaim, from all of this, is that the thread that connects all the actions of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the Torah is Gemilas HaSader. So the revelation of the central mitzvah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we need to cling to and emulate is the mitzvah of chesed of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the name of Hashem, Yud Kei Vav Kei, denotes chesed and racham. The greatness of Hashem is revealed through his chesed. We each personally experience the chesedim of Hashem. So how do we relate to the world? We relate to understanding that the world is a sefer limud of chesed. I can learn chesed from others. I can learn chesed from Hashem. But I'm here to learn chesed. It's a textbook of chesed. Olam chesed yibane. Hashem built the world on the foundation of chesed. The Ahavas Shalom, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, especially Avram, before Matan Torah, learned chesed from the Bria. He learned the midos of Hashem. He looked and saw how Hashem interacted and decided to be like that. And also from the Torah, Nasa Adam, the Tzalmeinu Kidmuseinu, Hashem implanted his midos into each and every one of us, with a recipe of midos tailor-made for each of us from Hashem's midos. That means that each and every one of us are wired. And you know, there's that pirate book series, and in one of them, there's such a cute little, the middle, it has such a cute page. I love that page where they're weighing all the babies, and it says like 17% chesed, 42% anger, you know, like all the different midos in whatever measure, each one of us. And it's such an eye-opener. That's how Hashem made me. He gave me a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and this mitzvah and that mitzvah. This one fights with that one, and that one counterbalances that one. So I am the person that I am. And this is how Hashem put me into this world. If we develop these midos, they serve as a tool, as a vehicle to see and learn to darchei Hashem, from Hashem and the Bria, and emulate Hashem's ways. These are the words of the Sifsei Chaim. Chanan, he gifted each and every one of us with the midah of chesed. Every one of us, to whatever degree we weigh on the scale of the midos, every one of us has the midah of chesed within us. And for some people it's a bigger challenge, and other people it just comes naturally and it comes so easily, and it's a no-brainer. But whichever way, we all have it wired within us, and it's a gift. Hashem gave us that gift, like other midos that he gave us, so we could recognize and see Hashem through those midos in the world. We could see Hashem in each other. When someone comes through and does such an important act of chesed for me, what's my reaction? Well, the first reaction is thank you. But the second reaction is, wow, that person emulates HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's a divine spark in this person that's propelling her to do a chesed. When do we not feel that? When that chesed is a little self-motivated. When we know that she's doing it because she wants everyone to know what she's doing. And it's in order to build herself up that she gives. We have to try to stay away from that, and we'll get back to that in a minute. That's one pitfall of the mitzvah of chesed. And we'll get to an interesting mashal on that in just a few minutes. Before we get to that, we have to look at ourselves. A lot of times, when someone does a chesed first, what's our first reaction? Besides thank you, sometimes we mouth and sometimes we mean. When we mean it, it's from a genuine feeling of appreciation. You did this for me. And I'm just so touched. Thank you. When we don't mean it, it's because my mindset might go something like, I used to tell my children when they were small, he's here. And I look around and see who's here. I say, he's here, Mr. Magieli. Mr. Magieli was a personality that used to sometimes come to the house. And when he would visit our house, we would say, Mr. Magieli is here. Because you don't appreciate what I'm doing for you because you think, Magieli, it's coming to me. I deserve this. What else would you do for me if not this? Right? And we all have a little bit of Mr. Magieli or Mrs. Magieli living within ourselves. Right? It all revolves around me. It's all about me, my needs, my comfort zone, my desires. And that sometimes makes it difficult for me to be the one to go into chesed. Because right now it's hot outside. And I don't want to take my neighbor's children to the park, even though she's falling apart. And I don't want to take them into my house because I don't want to make a mess. And I don't want to help her because it's not in my comfort zone right now. Right? And we all go through this to some extent on whatever those issues are, and we struggle. I know I should be helping her, but what can I do? Maybe I'll do something else instead. Or maybe I'll just push her out of my mind because I don't really want to be doing this right now. Mr. Magieli isn't only Magieli that you should be doing this for me, but sometimes it's Magieli to put my feet up on the couch. And so what if she's going through whatever she's going through? And we build ourselves these walls. But if something does something for me, I shouldn't look at it that it's supposed to be this way. I should look at it that there's an emulation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it really is supposed to be this way, but not because I deserve it, but because it's necessary. Hashem created us with Samo Kidmuto and implanted with us in the mitzvah of chesed so that we can go beyond ourselves, so that we can go out of our comfort zone and be able to help someone else and be able to feel someone else's situation and pain, and realize that it's not always rosy. And the more we're in tune to this and develop this midah of chesed, that's ben adam l'chaveiro. We're living in such a time of turmoil. We look all around and we feel the intensity of our times. It's a time of turmoil. People are going through all different issues. People are in bidud. Right? People, not everyone is well. We should all hopefully have good health, but not everybody is well. People have all different burdens and tekalas that they're carrying. Our world is upside down, but when we see the chesed side of things, the world changes. Rebetzen writes on about the Dor HaMabul that the world was filled with Hamas. The whole world was corrupt. And 1 year in the Teva, 1 year was spent by Noah and his family doing chesed for the entire creation. Every creature in the creation was on that Teva, and everyone's needs were different from the other. The birds had their needs, and the animals had their needs, and the creepy crawlers had their needs. Everybody had their needs, and Noah had to learn to adapt himself to everybody's needs. And the world continued to exist because of that chesed, because of the chesed of Noah. Avraham Avinu came a little later, and he looks at this and he says, wow, the world exists by chesed. Chesed establishes that the world should exist. And he taught the world about chesed by his hachnasas orchim, by taking care of needs of each person according to their needs. Oh, you need a bed? Oh, you need food? Is this what you need? Come, sit down, come wash it. That's how I've learned from that. And we can learn from this, says the Sifsei Chaim, Shegam anu neilech b'darchei Hashem. That we also want to emulate the ways of Hashem, and cling to Hashem's ways to doing chesed. If the world exists in the merit of chesed, this is what Hashem wants from us. This is it. And then we understand that this is Ratzon Hashem. Let's go back to Avraham Avinu for a moment. Learn from Noah the importance of chesed. Titan. Chesed Avram. We know that Avram made enough of people in the world, not just with his chesed, but with his emunah. And in the very same parak of Tehillim, before the pasuk of Olam Chesed Yibane are the words Odia Emunah Tzchafi. Emunah and Chesed are so clearly related. Avram Avinu was the paradigm of Chesed, but yet he learns from Hashem, I want to give. Because he saw that Hashem's purpose in creation was to do good for other people. So too, Avraham Avinu emulated that. This is a very important point. The important point we learn here is that the purpose, the tachlis of the Bria is chesed l'shem chesed. To do chesed for its own sake. Hashem could have created the world differently, without anyone lacking. He could have made us without difficulties and issues and problems. But we know, Borei nefashos rabos v'chesronan. Hashem created many different people with lackings, with things that are missing, with things that need to be filled in by others, in order kidei lahachayos b'hem nefesh kol chai, to sustain us and do chesed for us. And we see that Hashem's mitzvah of chesed is to do good for us. Every opportunity to strengthen this mitzvah of chesed opens up possibilities, new vistas of understanding and recognizing Hashem. And the more we do chesed for others, the more Hashem will open up our eyes to see the chesed Hashem in our lives. And that's why chesed doesn't only belong to the realm of ben adam l'chaveiro. It also belongs in the realm of ben adam l'makom. Because through chesed, through doing chesed, we strengthen this mitzvah within ourselves. We see the tzelem Elokim in others, and we connect to Hashem. We connect to Hashem through in ben adam l'makom. Every act of chesed that we do brings us close to Hashem. Strength is our emunah in Hashem, our Creator, who's omnibenevolent, full of kindness, and performs myriad of acts of chesed at every moment for each and every one of us. Each act of chesed for each one of us in our own homes, in our own jobs, in our own community. Writes two different scenarios. Rabbi Yerucham depicts two different scenarios. Imagine the person who's lost, who comes to the train station in a foreign city and has no clue how to get to a place to stay. So he doesn't have Waze, and he doesn't have the apps that, this is back in Rabbi Yerucham's time. And he writes that he goes to the wagon driver. Imagine that. The wagon driver. And he asks the wagon driver, can you please take me to a place to stay? Because I don't really know my way around here. And the wagon driver gives him a smile and says, sure, hop on, I'll take you. And then he gets him to this nice place to stay, and he helps him off with his bags. And the man pays him and thanks him for his help. And the wagon driver thanks him, for paying him. And they depart, and it was such a pleasant experience. It's cold, frigid winter, and yet it was a pleasant experience. And scenario number 2 is wagon driver sitting there, and the person gets lost and finds him, and he needs to find his way, and he comes over to this scowling, angry, upset wagon driver who is cursing his existence that he has to be a wagon driver in the frigid winter. And he comes over to him and he asks him, could you please help me? And the wagon driver's thinking, okay, this place is a little further, but I'll take you there. And then they give me a commission for every person I bring. And then so it'll benefit me, and I'll bring him over there. And he brings him over there. And by the time the guy goes to pay him, he just grabs the money and takes off. Well, that wasn't a very pleasant experience. You can do the exact same job, smile, and give the other person a good feeling. Same job, same process, 2 different ways to do it. If we realize when we're doing a chesed, we try to do best in the best possible way, the most pleasant, even if we're not getting something in return, or whether we are. It's about giving, not receiving. And we can apply this to our own lives at home. How many times we have opportunities to do chesed for everyone around us, whether we're cleaning up, we're making supper, we're helping someone with their homework, whatever it is that we're doing. It could be wagon driver number 1 or wagon driver number 2. Right? Whether we're doing something in the community, it's the same. Baruch Hashem, I have something to give. Baruch Hashem, I'm able to give. Baruch Hashem, I'm able to emulate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to develop the mitzvah of chesed and becoming a giver. As we approach Rosh Hashanah, it's a most opportune time to kick off a chesed project. Because Rosh Hashanah, Hayom Haras Olam, the day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam, the day Rabbi Yerucham writes, the day that Hashem created the world, created Adam to be like him. Our cheshbon hanefesh is, am I living up to my potential? Am I emulating HaKadosh Baruch Hu well enough? How can I be more like Hashem? We know that chesed saves the world from destruction. We saw that by Noah. I can do my part to work against the craziness of the world, the degeneration of the morals and values, and become a pillar of chesed. To be a part of the tzibur is a very, very important ingredient going into Rosh Hashanah. The Ramchal writes that part of the master plan of the Tachlis Habriya to perfect the world and bring it to shleimus is how much each individual is contributing to this. We just emphasize how important chesed is when we're playing our part. Avinu Malkeinu, we ask. We ask so many Avinu Malkeinus. We need so much rachamim. We need so many Yeshuas. Avinu Malkeinu, then we ask Hasvenu b'sefer zechuyos. What are we asking? Either I have zechuyos or I don't have zechuyos. Shh, Hashem, I didn't do anything so great, but write me down on the right list. Write me down in the book of merits. Is that what we're asking Hashem? What are we trying to say? Chasvenu b'sefer zechuyos, Rabbi Yerucham Lubavitch writes, develop a grab the opportunity mindset to mitzvahs. Run after mitzvahs without calculations. Hashem is giving me an opportunity to do a mitzvah, to have zechuyos. I can say a kapitel tehillim to help someone. I could go make her a meal. I can go give words of encouragement. I can wow, I'm so lucky. I have an opportunity to tell Hashem, Kasvenu, the sefer zechuyos. Please, Hashem, send me more opportunities to have zechuyos. Look at this. We have an amazing opportunity. It's like a bag of diamonds, says the fingers. The Matiskel of Solomon tells us that when, based on this idea, that these opportunities, Hashem is giving us a chance to become better. Hashem is giving us a chance to emulate his ways, to help someone, and to gain merits. But Elia Lopian writes a scary thought. When we talk about the Machnisei Rachamim, those heavenly messenger angels who are bringing our good things up to Shemayim and bringing for us, they're our emissaries that are helping us. What are those Machnisei Rachamim that we're asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu for so much Rachamim? Well, he says that these opportunities may be my own personal Machnisei Rachamim. This may be my ticket that I need for the upcoming din. Someone just used this as an example when she said she took in a relative to live with them, and that relative turned around and made her daughter shich. You never know where your ticket is. You never know which chesed you do is going to be the one that is your ticket to so much rachamim from Shemayim. A final thought about the Talmud Rebbe, from the Talmud Rebbe. A final thought about chesed and Rosh Hashanah. The beginning of the Bria, as we said, is Chaf Hei El. But the main purpose of the Bria Ha'olam was for Adam HaRishon. When Hashem created Adam HaRishon on Aleph Tishrei, so the Malachim said, no way, you're not creating him. No way. Forget it. Right? What happened? They said, don't create Adam. And Chesed came and said, create Adam. Because Adam, mankind, will be Gomle Chasadim. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided, even though other midos came and said against, maybe MS came and said, maybe they'll tell lies and don't create. And there was a whole war going on, back and forth, with the different malachim and midos. Hashem decided to create Adam because we're Gomle Chasadim. Hashem created us because we have the potential to emulate him. Back to Perek Peites in Tehillim, Ki Amarti, like I said, Olam Chesed Yibanen. The world is created on the pillar of Chesed. Chesed builds the world. When we stand in judgment, so this is the Talmud Rebbe, the prosecutor goes up against each and every one of us with all those averos, and our Gemilas Chasadim stands up and works against it. And Kiamarti Chesed Olam Chesed Yibanen. Through the midas HaChesed, we're zocha to uphold the world and emerge meritorious in judgment. Ubechina zo, he says, this point. Tzarich kol echad ve'achad lakabel al atzmo hayom hagadol v'hakodesh hazeh. On Rosh Hashanah, everyone has to accept this upon ourselves. We have an opportunity to come into Rosh Hashanah, showing Hashem that this is in our hands. This is important to us. We take us upon ourselves. What an opportunity to join a Chesed committee. What an opportunity to show Hashem that we mean it. It brings down, and the Talmud Rebbe in his piece, he brings down other Chesed opportunities as well. To help someone in shul during davening. I know someone who came to shul one Rosh Hashanah morning and saw that it was so hot outside, and she saw a few people leaving shul as she was going in. Okay, what's going on? It's freezing in there. Is that a typical men in their talesim and their suits and everything? Okay, so the women are freezing. So this person that I know, she went out and made a shul gemach, and she has 2 baskets in the shul of different shuls. And there's so many ways to do chesed, But when something is organized and put in front of you, you don't have to think creatively. Someone will call you and say, "Do you want to be part of the Chesed committee?" And you say, "Yes, I do." There you are. There you have it. To happen for someone else in need. It's such an easy thing to do. Bechinat olam chesed yibana, he writes. This idea of building our world with chesed, building our community with chesed, building our Dalet Amos with chesed, nizke lahamshich binyano shel olam. We're continuing to Hashem's creation of the world. Hashem is in the process now of building his world to a new reality. And we can be partners in this with our chesed. We should be written and inscribed. L'chaim tovim, b'zeh yom hadin, on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. We should all be inscribed for chaim tovim in every sense of the word. The yashpia aleinu, and Hashem should be sending us an abundance of shefa chasadim, lots of chesed he should be doing with us, and rachamim, mimekar harachamim, because he's the source of chesed and rachamim. And when we emulate him, Hashem Silcha, he shows it back to us. We should all be zoche to feel the chesed and rachamim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Through our acts of chesed, we should see the needs of Hashem in ourselves. We should see the needs of Hashem in each other. And when Hashem's presence is among us, only goodness comes to us. And we should all be zoche to every possible goodness in the upcoming year, Mitzvah Hashem.